All right, and we are live. We have a very special guest this week on the podcast. Now, social media has good reputations, bad reputations, depending on who you're talking to. It's all about curating. That's the key to having a positive social media experience. I don't know how, I think it was my sister tagged us on one of your posts, and we were like, oh, this is awesome. And we started chatting on Instagram, and now here you are as a guest. This is Kera from Charcuteski on Instagram.
Hey,
So,
Kara.
Kera, welcome.
Hi, it's great to be here.
So, a little bit, you want to give a description of your Instagram feed, because
Yeah.
it is beautiful and it is delicious looking.
Yeah, we have actually a lot of mixed reception on the feed, but the general concept of it is eating meat and cheeses off your ski or snowboard somewhere in the mountains. And it's just, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun than a lot more cost effective too, generally, than going in and sitting in a lodge and eating with your friends and dealing with the hustle of it. So, this last winter, things being the way they were, Deer Valley, for example, we skied there a lot. We're based in Park City. You had to have a reservation to go to. If you just wanted to go in and grab a grilled cheese, like you had to have a reservation to sit at a table. And we were like, all right, so, got in the habit of packing your own lunches, but then we started to get a little extra about it. So we would start shopping for artisanal cheeses and artisanal smoked meats and, curating all of these things from trying to keep it as local as possible. And we set up in the middle of mountain somewhere, try to find really scenic locations, set up our charcuterie board on our skis and take
That's
pictures,
awesome.
listen to some music, have a good lunch.
It's
Great
pretty
idea.
much like owning the whole experience. And we've talked to a few folks. Last week we actually spoke to Doug Fish, the founder of Indie Pass, and we're talking to him about like some of the things that were positive about the whole COVID lockdown restrictions year, and finding alternate ways, like, instead of going to a lodge, like we talked about tailgating, like what you guys are doing, like that is like the stuff that we want to keep after we get back to normal, because
Yeah.
that is super
Why
cool.
should that end, right? It's a
Why?
great idea.
I think that a lot about lot prey. You see everyone with their chairs set up in the lot, and you're just the reason that you go to a bar is to drink and hang out with your friends. So why
Bingo.
not drink and hang out with your friends just on the bed of a truck in the parking lot of a ski resort, listening to your own music and hang out with whoever wants to come over. Just
And you
like
got cheaper,
And
better beer too.
yes, and curate your own selection of good local brews
well,
and
it's a
not
little
have
more
to pay an
personal.
additional $9 for them that you pay at the liquor store.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a little more personal, a little cozier too. It seems.
Yeah.
You know.
So now, was this the first season that you set this up?
Yep. So this was the first season that we've ever done this, but I've had since starting the account, we've had a few people message us like, "Oh wow, what a great idea! This is me from last year. This is me 2 seasons ago, whatever it was." So it's not shocking that there have been people who have eaten food off their skis or snowboard before. So it's kind of funny to see that people are like, "Oh yeah, I did this at Whistler 5 years ago," or whatever it is. But personally, this is the first season that we started doing it, and the Instagram account came to fruition also a few months ago.
Now, you
Very cool.
said you had mixed responses to
Yeah.
the account. So I'm hoping, I'm sure it's what, like 80% positive, 90% positive.
It's definitely more than 90% positive, but
Okay,
we
good.
had so in a very similar situation to like how we came to know each other, a friend had tagged us in a Black Crows post, and Black Crows saw our stuff and then they reposted one of our pictures, and the comment section on that picture is like it's like 95% wow, this is an amazing idea, but then there's definitely a decent 5% that's like, this is disgusting. This is the foulest thing I've ever seen. What's wrong with you people? You should be in prison. People
uh,
love
they didn't
love
like
to.
the idea of putting food on the ski. Is that what it was? I mean,
Yeah, it just disgusts
that's
them.
weird.
No, you're not like drinking beer out of a used ski boot. It's not
Right.
like you're animals.
Yeah.
I
Like you just,
had my
right?
sister. I had my sister when we first started doing it. She's a registered dietitian, so she's like, where's your food safety? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but just I'll entertain you. What upsets you so much about this? And she goes, you pee on your skis. And I was like, I don't pee on my skis. I've literally never once in my lifetime peed on my skis. I don't
You
know.
wipe them off, right? Before you put the food on. That's all you need.
Yeah, even if I did, clean it up a little bit.
Doesn't the
Right.
cold kill a lot of stuff anyway?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's
Right.
like, so my mom's old school. She's like, if a pet were to eat off a dish, she's never using that dish again. Like she's that, like, so you can't wash it. It's ceramic. Like, what's wrong? So it grows, things like that gross her out. So I can see,
What does
Well,
she
your
think
mom-
that
Little
Sophie
quirky.
does? Nothing?
Your mom's like a Puerto Rican Larry David.
That's right. You go to a
Right?
restaurant, I'm like, you eat off a plate that somebody else ate off of, and drink and use a fork that somebody else put in their mouth. I don't know.
A
That doesn't
stranger.
bother her, but
At least you know
Yeah.
what's going into your dog's mouth.
yeah,
I think the
exactly.
dog is a little less nasty than some restaurant patrons in certain areas.
I would
Let's be
agree with
honest.
that.
Right?
You start thinking about using the same dishes, and then it starts grossing you out about going to a restaurant. So
So has she started to freak you out now?
no. I just laugh at her. I'm like, ha ha, it's funny.
But you do have some germophobic tendencies, though.
I
Is that
do.
where you got them
I
from?
do.
Yeah.
Maybe because there's a lot of germophobia even before COVID. So COVID just is right in my wheelhouse. I'm like, good. I didn't want to breathe on anybody anyway.
Yeah, there's some things where I'm like, hugs don't have to come back. Like hugging distant relatives, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. You guys can stay over there. This is great.
Like old person
Yeah.
smell, we may never have to experience that again.
Yeah,
Another
you have
positive.
silver linings.
Right?
So
Exactly.
you're saying we're not going to be in an overcrowded room? Perfect. I love that.
It sounds great. I can eat
Yeah.
outside with my friends. I love it.
Exactly. Everybody's eating
Like it-
outside now. I'm like, that used to be a rarity. Now it's like the common thing. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Al fresco dining is the norm.
That's right.
It's beautiful. So I know like I've seen some other, like, not your feed so much, but other like charcuterie board type posts and accounts. Like some people just, when you post something like that, they think you're a snob, you're rich, you're an elitist. And I saw some lady, she's like, I spent $20 and I made this meal for like 6 people. Because I don't know, I think maybe the word charcuterie just seems
It
fancy.
sounds
I don't-
fancy. Yeah.
It's
Like
the French. We hear a French word and we're just like, oh my God, I can't.
Right. It seems more regal, like more like Royale with cheese, quarter pounder.
Royale with cheese.
Same
It
thing.
doesn't have
It's
to
just
be
a
wine. You could
fancier
have
term.
beer. You could have wine. Whatever you want,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah.
all your options.
It's like
Your own
we
options.
also it's also so much more cost effective than going to actually eat in a lodge. And the beauty of it is that everyone contributes. So you say like, all right, guys, meet at the base of this lift at this time. We're gonna head up, find a spot, and everyone just unpacks their bags. And you've got people who brought hummus, people who brought guac, people who brought this kind of cheese, people who had like this leftover banana bread, and it comes to life. Like there's nothing snobby about it, but I can definitely see that, is that when people look at a curated charcuterie board that has like flour
They're like,
salami on it.
fancy.
It's like, oh, you
And
made
you
a little
arrange it
bit of,
nice.
like, people get mad at you for making a tiny bit of effort. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not eating out of a paper bag at a fast food drive-through. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of
Sorry, I
respect for
like
my
the
meal.
presentation.
Yeah, you're making a little bit of effort. It's like, oh, you combed your hair? Okay, Miss Fancy.
Oh, fancy.
All right, Queen
That's
Elizabeth.
too fancy for me.
Queen
Yeah.
Kera of Park City. So now, do you have any sort of culinary history?
I
which
don't at
inspired you
all.
for this, or no?
I like, my mom didn't really even teach us how to cook growing up. So kind of this foray into the cheese world has been a lot of fun for me. My friend Sarah and I, who jointly run the account, will go to the night before we know that we want a charcuterie. We like go to the grocery store and we pick out a new cheese to try every time. And I don't know how to pronounce 90% of them. I don't even know the difference between a hard and a soft cheese, truly. I just know what I like and what I don't like. And if I put it in my mouth and I don't like it, I'm not going to eat it. But
You're spitting it out. You're causing a scene. You're letting everyone know, never get this cheese again.
Yep. I know that I do not like any type of feta or goat cheese or cheeses like that. Not for me. So
I'm with you.
I'm learning that a little
But
bit.
if you have enough friends, somebody will eat it probably. You know,
But
chances
somebody
are
will eat it,
somebody
yep.
will like it.
If it's broth,
Kinda
somebody
nice.
will definitely eat it.
I wish I liked goat cheese. That was like one of the 3 or 4 foods. I wish I liked olives. I don't like olives for some reason. Apparently, I hate the Mediterranean, all their cuisine, because those are like
That's tragic.
lamb, olives, and goat cheese are like my bugaboos. And I know that tends to be heavy in the charcuterie world, but you know, there's again, like you said, other people bring different things, and you can make it work.
Yeah.
See, I
How
never
about your?
liked goat cheese, but if you make risotto and put goat cheese in after you cook it, it's actually pretty delicious.
I would say I'll give it a chance, but that would be a lie. So
Honesty, beautiful. Now, I
Beautiful.
had a question I sent to you about your ski history, but you're based in Park City, you said?
yeah, I just moved here in December. So I grew up skiing on the East Coast. My parents had my sister and myself on skis basically since we could walk. And skiing in New
Nice.
Jersey isn't really great. But we would do, I had an uncle who runs a seasonal business, and he would rent a house every winter in Vale, in Breckenridge, in Aspen, wherever it was. And we would go out and, take our winter break and then take another week off school. Spent a couple weeks
That's
out
awesome.
west every year growing up. And then my parents bought a house in Vermont when I was probably like 7, maybe 8. And we started going up there every single weekend, which when my sister and I were in middle school, we loathed that. It was
That
like
drive,
Really?
right?
the drive, not being able to hang out with our friends on the weekends. The only thing that I wanted to do on Sunday nights was watch Zoe 101, that show that got canceled because Jamie Lynn Spears got pregnant. And I just would get so sad that I couldn't watch Zoe 101. And I would throw these temper tantrums that I couldn't watch this stupid Nickelodeon show. And then
Oh.
as we grew up and we started to actually make friends up there, it's something that I'm so grateful for. And a lot of my friends who have tried to get into skiing when they've been older, so I have like a 30-year-old friend who came out in here in February. It was like his 3rd day ever on skis. And watching him struggle, but still love it so much, makes me so grateful that my parents got me into skiing when they did. And I can, head to the Vale back bowls and just be like, yeah, I'm going to rip whatever line I'm going to rip. You don't really have to think about it. So
Yeah.
as I've gotten older, I've gotten way more grateful for my parents putting us in ski school and driving us to Vermont every weekend. It's opened a lot of doors for me, and it's one of my favorite activities now.
That is beautiful, because
cool.
I am currently in a basement in New Jersey. So I understand your pain. Because it's funny right now, I joke with people. I'm like, the closest ski resort to me right now is Big Snow, the indoor place at the Meadowlands.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm shocked that
And
they
that's open
ever.
year round.
It is, and it took them, I don't know, 15 years to get it open since they
God,
broke
yeah.
ground on it.
I think you're right, because it started, I think, in 2005. That whole Xanadu monstrosity. And have you been there?
It was
Like, had you been there
horrible.
before you moved?
I never was able to go before I moved because they were just starting to open it when COVID hit, and it was like something that I was like, oh, maybe I'll go there, and then I just got
It's
out of New Jersey.
surprisingly fun. Like, they did a pretty awesome job, and they opened it in December of 2019. It was
Mhm.
open for, I don't know, what, 3 months then, 4 months until they locked it down. And it's funny because we were there as part of the fancy media group there on opening day.
Fancy.
And they're like, this is the first and last first chair ever, because we're going to be open forever. And then, of course, they jinxed themselves. Like, that place has to be cursed. It must have been an Indian burial ground or something, because it's cursed.
I mean,
it took
considering
15
that
years to open.
It's the Meadowlands. It's an everything burial ground. There are dead people there, every ethnicity.
Yep.
Dozens of them.
Jimmy Hoffa's in the stadium next door, right? Like, that's the rumor.
But they did a pretty, like, I was surprised. I went there. I've been there 3 times so far, and I went back. I was there a few weeks ago, and they're just building it out more and more. And they're actually putting a yard house above, like, the bottom where you come down where the chairlift is. So you can actually hang out there and have a couple of beers and like watch people on the hill. They have this cool little like beginner area for kids and beginners, and they have the terrain park side. So there's going to be kids in the next 5-10 years coming out of there that are going to be unreal in the park, because they can do terrain it 365 right there. So I definitely feel your Jersey East Coast pain, and I envy your escaping out to Park City.
See, I got out of Jersey, but I went south. He's still bunkered down in Jersey, so.
I'm very bunkered down, and I'm down the shore. So don't cry for me. There are worse places to be. But again, it's like once this, you start seeing the sun set a little earlier, you're like, ooh, like winter is coming. We're
Winter
getting
is
excited.
so coming.
Winter is so
Right.
coming. And we were actually out in Park City a couple years ago. We lucked out. We actually, it was somehow we managed to get the only Friday in February when it rains, like in the history of Utah. So we were there, and it was just dumping rain down in Park City, so we didn't ski that day. But luckily, we were very bitter. And we went to the Stein Eriksen. They wouldn't seat us. We couldn't afford it anyway. Then we tried going to the High West Saloon. We couldn't get in there.
A few times.
A few times. Like we tried multiple nights to get into High West. We couldn't get in.
That's rough.
Yeah. But then magically that day, like all that rain that was down in the bottom, it was all snow way up top.
Mm-hmm.
So the next morning we got out, and then we hit the 9990 lift just as it opened. And
Canyons,
Canyons, like the run that we hit, like everybody, it was like we were all 7 years old. Everyone's like, woohoo! Everyone, you hear hooting and hollering from everywhere around you. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. It's like sometimes you forget that the mountains and Park City itself are just two completely different weather systems. And then Salt Lake, even like it'll be pouring in Salt Lake 50 degrees. And then by the time you get back to Park City, there's 8 inches of snow on the ground. It's 20 degrees. And then you get 3,000 additional feet up to the top of 9990 or wherever you're going. And there's 9 feet of powder, and it's 1 degree Fahrenheit. So
it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's such a cool spot. And you picked a very fun spot to be in. So I'm again jealous of your migrating east to west, but you also inspire
nice
people.
Town. Yeah.
It's
cool.
a fun town. All right,
you
so back to
get
your
out. Proof
I
you
want
can
to talk
get out.
I want to talk about charcuterie again. All right. So do you have a must-have item on your board?
So there's this type of cheese called Bellavento, and it's basically marinating it with different beverages that they do and other flavors, but they'll do like, you can get like a bourbon, a Tennessee whiskey, a Merlot, and every single one of them that I've ever had is just, as long as you like what it's actually infused with, is fantastic. One of our favorite ones is the balsamic. I could eat an entire thing of those in one sitting until it makes me throw up. It is
Bellavento?
One of the best cheeses. It's like our absolute go-to. We go into the grocery store, we hightail it for that, and then we buy our other things.
I actually cannot believe you said that, because that Tennessee whiskey one is my absolute favorite cheese.
It's so good.
It is so good. Our ShopRite has that. They have a couple different ones. We should get the Merlot one, the big fat one from Costco, because they have that there. But that Tennessee whiskey, I actually was like, should I buy a quarter wheel? And then I'm like, dude, that's a lot of cheese.
But you'll eat it, so why not?
How long does that last?
Or you can just go back to the store a bunch of times. That works too.
But they give you these little tiny wedges. It's like barely
big enough. They are
like
not big enough.
Barely doorstop size. Like I need a little more. But that's the thing. It was either the doorstop or the quarter wheel. Like that's a big, like I'd like something in the middle there, perhaps.
Yeah, let's write to them. Write to Murray's Cheese and ask them if they can start supplying a bigger size.
I can't believe that's the one you came up with, because that one was the one I was thinking of too, because I absolutely love their cheeses.
Yeah. It's an award-winning cheese. It's so good.
Yeah, they do. So that's that. They actually marinated it after. Is like, because I know the rind is where you have that flavor, right?
Yeah, I think they infuse it during the process of the cheese making. I don't know a lot about cheese making. Just like I don't know the difference between hard and soft cheeses. I just know that I like to eat it off a ski when it looks beautiful outside with my friends.
Perhaps this could take you in a whole different direction. Like you could become like a whole like cheese connoisseur. Like do some videos going to fromageries and seeing how they actually make the cheese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
ski France, you go get some French cheeses. Ski Italy, get some Italian cheeses.
I wonder if they have like certifications like that for sommeliers for cheesemongering.
Cheesemongering, yes. There's your first T-shirt. Just cheesemonger.
Cheesemonger
at Charcuteski. Perfect.
I'm sure if you go to one of those crunchy little cheese shops. They'll tell you all about their certifications and how to get them.
Probably. I wouldn't, the websites like Cloud9 Living always have cheese tours and wine tours and stuff on there. I think I'm at the point where I really need to sit down for a cheese tour.
Yeah.
There's a place in Red Bank. It's kind of like where I live, and they have a cheese shop. And I went there, and like I was like, it's a tiny little shop. I thought there's no way they're gonna have anything that interesting or amazing. I went in there, and they make this whole board for you, and they ask you what you like, what you don't like, and like my wife and I sat there for like an hour just like sampling. And I was like, this stuff is so awesome. And it's, again, not stuff I would have picked out on my own, but to get that expert knowledge, it's almost like going skiing with someone who like knows the mountain, like a guide.
Yeah, the local
like,
store.
you're like, I never would have known to go, there was trees here with this great powder stashes, or I never would have known to, to go over here. So I guess it's almost like, it's finding like your Yoda, your cheese Yoda.
You got to find your cheese. You definitely got to keep trying them all.
There's also this. They're a New Jersey-based company. I'm not sure exactly where in New Jersey, but they make chocolate-covered quinoa snacks. So they puff the quinoa and then cover them in, there's like chocolate and sea salt, chocolate and raspberry, like all of these different combinations of flavors. They sell them in single-serve packages, and I don't understand why, because no person could ever sit down and just have one of them. But it's called Undercover Quinoa, and it is absolutely phenomenal. I want to get boxes. If I could dream of like one partnership that we could have with Charcuteski, it would be with that quinoa.
Have you harassed them yet?
I've tried, and then nobody's over here answering me. Apparently, I don't think that they're super active on social media, so I have to find another way.
Well, if they are in Jersey, we got a guy. He can
just drive down there.
Talk to some people. He's like, why aren't you answering our friend Kara's requests?
You want to wind up in the Meadowlands?
It's like, you want some dark chocolate and quinoa sent right now.
That's right.
How about,
cool.
So I know I used to have a friend who I used to play hockey with back in the day. His family was off the boat Italian. They would actually make their own prosciutto. I remember going into his basement, and they would have them hanging from the ceiling. And there'd be like this big pile of like dripped fat. And like they would pull one of those bad boys down and like cut it off. And you get these little perfectly thin pieces of prosciutto, like fresh. And I was like, I never liked cold cuts as a kid. I was a weird kid. I liked warm food. I didn't like anything that was cold. That was one of my first things. I was like, oh my God, like what else is there? What have I been denying myself? Prosciutto. Like for me, a charcuterie board is I measured by the meat, like the prosciutto. You get some sopressade. Are there any meat recommendations?
Favorite meats?
Things you want to see on your charcuterie board?
When I do the grocery shopping and I ask for the requests, it's always prosciutto, sopressade, speck, every single time.
Speck, I love.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Those are huge.
The smoky prosciutto's cousin.
That's what speck is, right? It's just smoked prosciutto for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
The un-Italian.
For the animals that may be listening.
Isn't speck German or is it Italian?
Let's see.
I don't know. I thought it was Italian.
Because I don't know. One of the things, because I found, like Mario, you mentioned that, because I found at Trader Joe's, they sell this pack of prosciutto. They say it's smoked. They don't call it speck. They call it smoked prosciutto from Germany, and it is out of this world. I think it's maybe like $4, $5.
Speck is typically made in South Tyrol, a province in northeast Italy, known for its snow-cast Dolomite mountains and strong German-Austrian influence. Although a close cousin to prosciutto, speck is worthy of its own distinction when it comes to cured hams.
Well, we were in Austria, and there was a store called Speckstube, and they had meat chips. They were like potato chips out of meat. It was amazing.
We just had our and this was maybe like 2 doors down from the hotel we were staying at. Like we just would fill our jackets with meat before we went up into the mountains for the day, and it was amazing. You're on the lift. They have like sausage, like the oh my God, the Landjägers, that like the dried sausages that you kind of just keep in your pocket and just
it's like a little cigar you just take out and you're just chewing on it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, my buddy Harrison, anytime that we get on the lift, he pulls out of his pocket a White Claw, a Bud Light seltzer, and a plastic baggie of bacon. And he says, "Does anybody want some pocket bacon?" And we pass
Oh,
around the 2
nice.
drinks on the quad, finish those by the time we get up, and then eat the bacon. Always bacon.
That's cool. Mm.
Bacon and White Claw. I mean, it's truly
What
the breakfast of
that's
champions.
just a palate right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Yeah, one other thing that I found this year that, I have a little, he's going to be 4 next week, but 3-year-old this past winter, we were skiing together at Shawnee, and we would, we'd ski, and then we'd have our little ghetto charcuterie après in the car in the parking lot. And the thing that we would do is we'd have that prosciutto that I mentioned from Trader Joe's, the speck, actually. That, probably one of those Bella Vinto cheeses that I would just break with my hands because I'm an animal. And I found at, I think Costco or Amazon had it. Blue Diamond, they make a gourmet almond, and it was like garlic, olive oil, and spices.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
And those 3 things together were just killer. I would highly, if you can find those, like they are, if you like olive oil and garlic flavor, like these, it's like it tasted like garlic bread, but it was a healthy almond.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love the Blue Diamond sea salt, like lightly sea salted ones. So, and if something with actual flavor and anything with garlic, I love garlic. I would eat garlic raw if it wasn't so disgusting. But I really am such a sucker for garlic.
Yeah, if you can find those almonds, like again, I found them at Costco originally, and then I went onto Amazon because they didn't have them at Costco anymore, because that's how Costco is. One day it's there, next day it's gone. They make, I think, 4 maybe varieties of their gourmet line, and they got some funky stuff, but they come in this giant bag. But the garlic, olive oil, herb ones are out of this world. It seriously tastes like garlic bread.
Man.
So I think, for this upcoming season,
I think I'm going to have to.
You got to give them a try.
Be on our first ski.
Perfect. That would be fantastic. And so where is the best après charcuterie board you have ever, like where have you enjoyed the greatest one you've ever had?
We had a really good one at St. Regis in Park City a few weeks ago. I have a friend who he needed to do some content for the Park City Arts Council of like things to do in Park City in the summer. So he invited us all to go to the St. Regis and drink wine and eat charcuterie and get dressed up and have videos taken of us for some
twist your arm, right?
Materials. And I was like, I guess we'll be there. Like if you truly need me. And St. Regis does a very, very good charcuterie board up at their bar. And also they have, so every St. Regis has its like own signature Bloody Mary that you can only get at that St. Regis. So I'm personally not a bloody person, but I've heard people rave about their Bloody Marys up there. They come with a little like dropper of Tabasco sauce, so you can like control the spiciness of your bloody. But my friend's uncle doesn't ski, came out here once on a work trip, went to the St. Regis, got a Bloody Mary, and now comes on shoulder season week-long trips and just drinks Bloody Marys at the St. Regis.
That's dedication to the game right there.
That's a man who really
wow.
loves Mary.
That's awesome. How about a dream location to have a Charcuteski photo op?
Man, some of my favorite ones that we took were at Jackson Hole with the Tetons in the background, and I am obsessed with the Tetons. And it's hard for me to imagine something better than that, other than actually ski touring into the Tetons and doing one in the Tetons. So for me, that would probably be the dream. It's just, oh man, I just really love the Tetons. I have a tattoo of the Tetons.
Wow. That is awesome.
Wow. How about snowcat charcuterie? Charcuteski.
We did at Powder Mountain up here. They have snowcats, so that's definitely something to consider next time we go back there.
Or heli charcuteski. That'd be kind of nice.
That would be really
nice.
On
a heli, nothing around.
For my 30th birthday, we'll go
on the blades of the helicopter.
I'm sure that the
nice.
Hey man, you bring some of that speck. You could pay him. He'll be like, whatever you want to do. No problem.
Hell yeah. Cut your head off. Who cares? We're eating meats. We're eating cured meats off a helicopter.
Just a half an hour window. We're not gonna turn the blades on. Let's enjoy the charcuterie and then get the photo op.
That's right.
Then we'll go. All right, Kara.
Awesome.
Anything else you want to share? And where can people find you and follow you and check out your adventures?
Yeah, we're at Charcuteski on Instagram. We had a large debate over whether or not to make it Charcuteski with an R or Charcuteski with no R. So it's Charcuteski with no R. So come on by, give us mean comments about how I totally pee on my skis and how disgusting this is. Or some love. Yeah, if you guys ever do your own Charcuteski, give us a tag so we can repost it. And yeah.
As long as nobody's peeing on the ski, we're good.
As long as no peeing on skis. There's no peeing on skis allowed.
No peeing on skis.
Do my best. It's the only promise I can give you. I'll do my best.
Can't promise you, bro.
Never had the targets, or your parents never gave you Cheerios to learn how to aim?
No, but my son will now get Cheerios for targets. That's friggin' awesome.
Cheap target practice.
Yeah, right.
Came out of it.
There you go.
It's like the old Simpsons quote. I can't say I'll try, but I'll try to try.
You got to watch them because kids love Cheerios. You don't want them going for it, and you want them to pee on it, not.
He was licking the bottom of his crock yesterday. Like, he's disgusting. So he takes after his dad. So all bets are off. Like, no promises at all.
That's awesome.
All right, Kara. Thank you so much for your time. Check her out, Charcuteski on Instagram. And if we get to Park City, we will definitely look you up and we will share a delicious.
Yeah, we'll finally get into High West. I know, guy.
Yes. See?
Oh, there you go,
Mario.
She knows the guy. That's what you need.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, Kara. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hey.
All right.